Edwards on the drive, goes inside the floater. Turn him over again. Booker scoops it up. Booker brings the boom.
That is right. Wednesday NBA Hardwood show. We're bringing the boom, hanging out, talking NBA DFS for today. Speaking of the NBA, we got JSU here. And JSU, I was wondering, I don't know if you saw, but Pat McAfee had an hour-long podcast with LeBron James today that debuted. I'm sure you were clamoring for LeBron James content. So I'm wondering, did you tune into the hour-long sit-down conversation with LeBron James?
You know, you know me, man, going, I love a good LeBron combo with anybody. I just love listening to the guy. He's, you know, one of the greatest to ever suit him up, wear the Jordans, the Jays, whatever you want to call them. But, you know, I didn't. I don't watch even McAfee. I like McAfee. Seems like a cool dude. His show's super popular, but I don't watch ESPN. I don't watch like normal television or shows like that. So I didn't see it. I saw Discord though at me because they were having the convo about who's the GOAT, MJ or LeBron. And I'll just say, my boy Dub KJ, if you're in the Run Pure Sports Discord, he made some compelling arguments for the right side of the GOAT conversation because there's only one side that's right. Okay. Two sides think they're right, but there's only one side that's actually right. And he made some real compelling points for the side that is actually right, Mangone. I mean, you know which side it is. I don't know if you saw it, but if you didn't, you should go back and go check the NBA Discord out.
My biggest gripe against the guy that you like, right? The guy that you're on, no one argues that he wasted a lot of his career. Like just like ending kind of early and the baseball stuff. And like, that's never even in like the conversation of like a knock, right? It's like, he didn't like, he kind of mailed in the end. It felt
why was it though, Mango? Why wasn't it a knock in your, like, it sounds like you're using it as a knock. Why do you think people don't knock him for it?
I don't know.
I think I know.
What's the reason?
I think it's because he won 3, came left for a year and a half or whatever it was, 2 years, and then came back and won 3 more. Like that. You know what I mean? Like it was like 1, 2, 3, I'm going to leave. And then he comes back. Like, how many people do you know, like, I don't know, man, going like, how many people do you know, or how many people have there been in sports history, right? Where they're like, I won a bunch of championships. I'm going to retire. I'm going to retire on top, right, Mango? I'm going to retire like the king. And then they're like, after a year or two, they're like, screw it. By the way, they were playing like a different profession, sport. And then they're like, screw it. I'm going to come back. And then I'm going to win 3 more off the rip. It's like,
yeah, but then
who else can say that?
Then there was also the after when he went to the Wizards part where it was like he kind of nailed that. Like that's just my issue. Like if you think of like, you know, the analogy, like if you got the lemon and do we get the full squeeze out of it? We just didn't get the full squeeze out of it, right? And like I just think that needs to be in the conversation. I mean, I don't have a strong take on which one it is. I think they are so different in many ways, but like, yeah, I think that matters.
Yeah, I guess I just don't look at it that way because I look at it as someone who did something that we'll never see ever again. Like we'll never see a guy win like that, leave on top, go play another sport, and then come back and win like that again. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think we're ever going to see anything like that.
No,
guys
yeah.
have went and played other sports, but I'm just saying, like, the way he won, left, played, came back, and won again 3 in a row, we're just never going to see. That's just straight greatness to me. I don't care about the court stuff. Chat saying Kareem. I mean, yeah, Kareem's great. I just don't think we're going to see that.
you'll never see that. I don't know if you're going to see what he's been doing in his 40s too with other people. Like that's the other thing. Like LeBron's side, right?
You
Like,
could make the case for LeBron that we'll never see a more durable
yeah,
superstar than LeBron, right?
right.
So you could make that case, and then compare the two. I just think that one wears Jordans and one doesn't. Or one is Jordan. Like, that's the way I look at it. Like, Michael Jordan's never wearing bronze. WKJ wrote that in chat, and I was like, I'm stealing this shit because he is so right about that. Like, LeBron will wear some Jordans at one point in his career. Like, MJ's never wearing bronze. Like, he's just never doing it. Like, I thought that was just amazing. Shout out to WKJ. I appreciate it.
No, it's a good one. I don't have this strong take on it, but I just think there's I think a lot of people just pick and choose the certain things they want, and it's they don't actually use the full picture, and it gets
I think there are certain people though that grew up and they're like, I grew up on this, right? So I'm this way, and then there's some people that are just Braun forever, right? He's the man, stuff like that, like. And then there's the people in between. I just look at it more like what Michael did we'll never, ever see. And I feel like that's pinnacle of greatness, kind of like what Tom Brady did. I don't know if we'll ever see kind of what Tom Brady did with the Patriots and in the run, the amount of years he was so great. And then he left, went to a different team and won again. It was pretty great. I don't know. Those are two guys like Tom, Michael. I put them together. I put Jordan after, or I'm sorry, LeBron after those two in my sports greatness.
Yeah, you also have to be the whole Brady stuff is he's basically psycho when it comes to the competitiveness and how much he wanted to keep winning.
It's kind of like Jordan and Kobe in my eyes. I don't view Braun like that, and people view that as a knock. I don't think he's like that. You know what I mean? I think he's a different type of person. It's not a knock.
No, yeah. It's a good argument. By the way, AP with a funny comment. What JC is correct. We'll never see because the talent level is so much greater now. Excellent point. Braun GOAT. So, that's pretty good there.
Yeah. So you're saying that Michael in this era couldn't do what he did. I don't agree. No, it's the same thing though when the old people say LeBron couldn't do what he's doing now back then. I don't agree either. I don't agree with either side. I think Michael Jordan was so great and he was so mentally insane, just like Kobe. They would have adapted to any style of error and been great.
Yeah.
I think LeBron would have also adapted to the fact that he was, also so much bigger than a lot of those guys now, right, Mangone? So, I don't view it as Braun couldn't play back then either. Of course he could play. He'd be bully balling a lot of these dudes. You know what I mean? So I don't agree with either side. That's crazy. You know what I mean? The rules are different now. So, there's more skilled guys, but Michael still be the top of the skill category. He wouldn't allow himself not to be.
You know what argument LeBron used? This same conversation, but the argument he used about it on the podcast that I heard for a little bit. He said, when people say Giannis couldn't dominate in the 70s, I just laugh. He's it's insane. So he used, and I was thinking
stupid, though.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Giannis in the 70s and how much he would dominate. He would.
Bro, they pack the paint, right? So they pack the paint, right? But all these guys are super short. Giannis would be going to the foul line constantly. He'd be taking mid-rangers all day and making them.
Yeah.
Think about it. Giannis's game, he wouldn't have even had to extend his range back then. He wouldn't have had to. He would have just got what he wanted in the paint every single time.
Yeah, just like obviously players back then, they would have extended their range and gotten a little better. I'm not saying Shaq would have been shooting 3-pointers in this era, but he would have at least maybe uptick the percentage by 1 or 2, right? You get what I'm saying?
There's a couple guys, going where they wouldn't really have to change that much and still be really good. I think Shaq's young Shaq would dominate
Yeah.
a lot of fucking people. Like I don't care. Young Shaq was crazy. That
Yeah.
dude was an animal. So
The best,
the argument's stupid in that aspect. I don't agree with it at all. Like saying that some of these great players couldn't play in either era. Like that's just stupid. Why? Because back then they could body check them more like hockey. Yeah, who cares? That they still get fouled and go to the free throw line. Like
yeah. To be fair, JC, there's two guys in particular that played in both eras, and they played as a big man, as a shooter, and they played as like a down low dominant player. And those two players are probably Chris Bosh, right? He was one of like the original guys that switched over, and Brook Lopez. I mean, he is someone that people forget. When he was with the Nets, he played down low and did not shoot 3-pointers, and then he won a title shooting threes in the corner as a big man. So
I will say Brook Lopez's game totally changed midway through his career, like completely different player. I think Chris Bosh, he might be one of the guys that actually would have struggled back in the day. Like out of everyone we talked about, like I think Chris Bosh would have struggled the most because he didn't like physicality at all.
He was so good
in this era. In this era, he didn't like physicality. So it was still more physical back then, no matter what these guys want to say. He wouldn't have liked playing back then. That's all I'm going to say. Not he couldn't score or he couldn't play. I'm just saying he wouldn't have liked it as much.
Yeah, no, that's fair. He definitely wouldn't have liked the physicality as much, but all right, that's enough of the MJ Jordan stuff. It was
Mangone got me started. This was Mangone's fault. So if you're mad about it, Mangone got me started.
I did get you started. I was listening to that podcast. I think I got halfway through, so I still got half of it to listen to.
I do like Pat McAfee. I do think he's a great he's great for like sports.
He's really good at what he does. So I was curious to listen to it. I was like, wonder what I'll hear that's interesting, that's not interesting. And so, but all right.
Ron needs to get ready. He needs to get himself ready to go on a long run so I can get my Celtics Lakers futures for the NBA championship, and then I can make a bunch of money. That's what Bron needs to fucking do. Get your shit together so you can go lose to the Celtics in the finals. Or win. I don't care. I have it either way. So either way, I'll win a shitload of money if that happens.
It's gonna be brutal listening to you and Big T in like May talk up the Lakers. Gosh, you guys are gonna be.
Listen, Lakers or Warriors against the Celtics, I win a ton of money. Anyone else, I'm pissed.
Yeah, I do think you bet it the right way because the Celtics are just winning as long as there's no injuries because they're the best team in the league.
I mean, they are so much better than the other teams in the East. It's not when fully healthy. It's not even funny.
All right, let's dive into this NBA slate. Not as much injuries, at least like that we're waiting on, right? You can make an argument. Yes, there's a lot of guys out, but like we have a lot of the news today. The only real news we are waiting on that matters, I'd say, is Harden's questionable. Jokic is another big one, but I'm expecting Jokic to play. And Tatum, I'm expecting to play. So, I don't know. A lot of stuff seems kind of clear and cut. We will go through the injuries throughout the games because no one wants them at the beginning. No one wants to be prepared. We'll give them game by game. Washington, Philadelphia is our first game up. And we know the Philadelphia 76ers, they have been missing guys forever, right? The guys that they are missing, Andre Drummond, Tyrese Maxey, Kelly Oubre, Lonnie Walker, they are all out. Quentin Grimes, he is back and he is in for this game. It's also a game against the Washington Wizards. We understand when you go against the Washington Wizards, they're a team to target in DFS, so they're going to be someone that we're going to be interested in targeting for sure. Of course, Grimes, he seems like he is expensive, but you know what? I mean, if he was 10K, I think he could be viable at this point. Like that's all I'm getting at is the guy's usage has been insane. He's 9.1K. I think he's in play. He's part of the conversation for sure. You got Justin Edwards, Jared Butler, Yabusele, all guys that you can consider, of course, and then the bench guys. We want to know what the starting lineup is going to be. I think we have a general idea of what it'll be. Washington, that's the tricky one, JSU. You know why Washington's tricky? Because they're starting to spread some of their minutes out a little bit too much, and it kind of can be frustrating. Not to say guys can't be on the winning lineup. for instance, we had Tristan Vukcevic. He had like a monster game. Like, I think like I got to pull up the game log just because I want to see it because it was insane. I saw, because I had played him a bunch. I played him when he was low owned too. And then he randomly got like a DMP, I think, not too far after that. So it's like the Wizards, you just don't know what they're going to do. Starting lineups will be important, of course. Yeah, Vucevic, he played, he had those 30, 31, 36, 27, 39, and then he played 4 minutes against the Knicks, which was insane. And then, of course, 24 minutes. So you just don't know what Washington's going to do. One guy I do like on Washington that I've kind of talked up a bunch, JSU, is, as I call him, Alexandre Sarr. He's got upside. I think he is someone that they're developing. I am in on Sarr. I like the matchup, too, for him as well. Of course, they are missing guys on the Wizards. They're missing Keyshawn George, Chris Middleton, Brogdon, Bay, Smart, all these guys. They're all out. So, of course, you're going to see Jordan Poole in this starting lineup, probably with a Carrington and a Champagny, Sarr, and then one more guy. I don't know which one they'll end up going with. But regardless, JSU, we have to like some guys in this game. Who are the ones that you're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Poole's frustrating because they really seem keen on like keeping his minutes somewhat in check. So I just can't play Jordan Poole even at 6K. Like if I knew he was going to get like 30 minutes, even I'd click his name at that price tag. I'm not sure. 22 minutes last game. I agree with you on Sarr. I think he's got decent upside at that price tag. It's just like, do I want to? I think it's a good spot for him too, but do I want to pay up for a Wizard? You know what I mean? That's like what I don't really want to. The other thing that's annoying about this team, Mangone, is some games they've got these like fringe guys like Chris Middleton and Malcolm Brogdon, Marcus Smart. Some games they're in, some games they're out. Right? This game they are all out. All those guys. Also, Keyshawn George is out for this team too. Like you would assume Champagny gets a little more run in this situation, but they've been a little weird with his minutes too. AJ Johnson's been someone that's actually played pretty decent, especially last game, 28 minutes in 3 of his last 4 games. You would think that stays because it seems like they want to get a good look at him, which kind of makes some sense. The question for me is just like, where do the Middleton minutes kind of go, Mangone? Because if they go to Champagny, then I think he's a really good play. I'm just not sure they fully go to him.
And JC projections agree with you on that. Like they got Colby Jones, he's 3,400, and he's got like a pretty decent projection today, right? If you look at 3,400, he's around like 22 DK points. Like Jalen Martin could easily get in there. Like that's the thing. I agree with you if we know we get the minutes. The problem is I just think they're spreading those minutes out a ton where it gets tough to for sure take a complete stand on it and push your chips on one of these guys.
Yeah. And maybe then like Colby Jones would become an okay play at 3,400. Like if you think he's going to get, maybe a little uptick in minutes. So that's the problem with this team. Like I want to see starters. I do agree with you though. Like on the surface, like Sarr seems like an okay play. I think you could play Bub in tournaments. Like I wouldn't take him out of the pool in tournaments. I mean, even with the minutes, he can have some pretty bad games, but he also has flashed the upside as well, where he can give you good fantasy games. So, not a team that I want to be like super heavy on, but depending on the starting lineup, I could see myself playing a Wizard or two, depending on who they start. I kind of hope they start honestly, like an AJ Johnson or someone who I know they like want to give minutes to or something like that.
Yeah. That's totally fair. I just, AJ Johnson, he's not my favorite guy to roster for sure. And there's normally better.
Yeah. He's not like that good. He's not that good. And the Philly side, like I agree with you on Grimes. I just think he has to stay in the pool just because we've got some studs that are out. I'm not paying 6.2 for Jared Butler. Just seems like a lot to pay for. Yabusele 5'8". Feels like a little much, honestly, for him. But, it's a good matchup. Justin Edwards has actually been the one I think if you're looking at him and Yabusele, is probably a better play the way he's been playing. So I kind of like, if I had to pick Justin Edwards, Chuma's been getting a bunch of minutes. I don't know if that sticks. You kind of missed the ceiling game last time out. So
I need Chuma to start JSU. I think Chuma has to start for me to like play him. And there's a chance he doesn't, just because who knows what the Sixers are going to do.
Yeah, it's definitely uncertain. I think he will start, but it's not certain. I think for me, Grimes and Edwards are like the two guys I like the most from the Philly side. But again, like this is not a game where I like want to be like super heavy on, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair. Ownership wise, this game is getting some, right? I see Edwards at 28%, Butler at 21, Grimes at around 11. And then I do see Sarr at Sarr's at 29%, and the guy that's really getting the most right now is Vukcevic. I think they're expecting the double big lineup with Vukcevic at the 4. I think that's why at 4.3K. And if he does start, he would be a good play. So he's someone that I would be interested in. Garrett is
a reminder, even when he started, he still played like mid-20s minutes. His minutes like didn't like increase that much.
Yeah, but if he starts, I'll say this, JSU. I feel better about him getting the minutes, right? They already showed that they'll just do stupid stuff. So that's just something kind of to call out there.
That's true.
Garrett has a $100 no sweat bet, JSU. Do you have a favorite bet today on the board or no?
Oh, that reminds me of my damn no sweat bet from yesterday. Stupid Jimmy Butler. We got the Josh Hart triple-double, no problem, and then Jimmy just did us in. Bullshit.
What were the odds on Josh Hart triple-double yesterday?
I got it at 12-1, Mangone. So it was 12-1. I think Jimmy, when I got it, was around there too. Maybe his was 11 or 10-1, but yeah, no, it was that was kind of rough.
That seems like value on Hart. Like that number just seems like it should be like.
Honestly, right now it's 9-1 on DK. I've seen it bet. I think I've seen it bet down to like 6-1, and then it came back to 9-1. You know, I just hate like betting the same guy 2 days in a row because, man, it's tough to get like, it takes a lot of energy to do that stuff like back to back, especially for guys like Josh Hart. Not saying he can't do it. It's just like, you know, it's tough to go back to back with that stuff. For my no sweat bet, what did I do? So trying to remember. I think I did Kevin Porter for 20 points and 8 assists. And I think I put Scotty Barnes triple-double, which was 25-1. I think was my no sweat bet. So it was I only could do $50 was the max for me. If I had $100 one, I'd probably do something not as crazy. But yeah, that's what I threw my $50 on. I think it was like $50 to win.
Hey, JC, I'll admit, I am over Scotty Barnes and the Raptors. Like, I'm sick of their crap. So
it was just 25-1 seemed way too much.
No, I get it.
Or 28, whatever it was. It was like 28-1 or 25, I forget.
They're a team like every DFS slate that I see. I'm like, okay, the max I'm playing of these guys is like 5%, just because I know.
Yeah, because they're a team where it's like the minutes, Mangone, right? Like the minutes are just they're annoying. Like they don't get like Scotty Barnes isn't getting 38 minutes.
Yeah, I just can't tell you what they're gonna do every single night. By the way, Jalen Hood Scafino, he just got ruled out, which like that's definitely not nothing on the Sixers side of the ball, right? I would assume, or is he already not? I guess we don't have to worry about his projection. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, what was he getting? Like 18 minutes, something like that.
I don't know. I saw it posted, and I know he's been playing, right? So I don't know. You gotta when we get to this time of year and those guys start getting rolled out, that's when I wait for the tweets where it says like 8 or 9 guys are available, right? Like I want to understand that situation. Like even yesterday, like the Mavs didn't have they only had 9 guys, and like I played a lot of Kessler Edwards, and I was nervous about it, but like, yeah. So
yesterday, I don't know if you watched the show, but me and Tony argued about one Najee Marshall. And I kept saying to Tony, I said, dude, I've watched this guy when all of these guys are out and they've got 8 or 9 bodies, and he plays a shitload of minutes, and he turns into what Quentin Grimes turns into in Philly with all these guys out. And what does Najee Marshall do in the first half of the game? He drops 28 actual points in a half, in a fucking half, man. Going, I don't know if you saw that. It was crazy. I think he slowed down in the second half, but he had to score like 50 something DK points. I can't remember exactly what he ended with, but it had to be something like that. I know he had 38 real points at the end of the game. So
I'm going to admit, I was listening. I listened to the first 2 games, but you guys just took too long yesterday to get going for me to listen. I couldn't.
Not on 3x speed? Get us on 3x, man, going.
No, well, because once I'm 10 to 15 minutes before lock, my focus can't be on a show because my focus is on my lineups and on the Discord chat. I got the 2 tabs up, and that's all
very selfish of you, Mangone, but I respect it.
Yeah, all I focus on during those final 10 minutes are my lineups and the Discord chat for the members. I don't change the screen to anything else. If I do change the screen, it's to update stuff or anything like that. But I always
By the way, and I told him to fade stupid Dennis Schroeder.
Yes,
I asked 87% owned Dennis Schroeder, by the way. Oh, he's a great play. If I knew he was 87%, that'd be the best play. Suck it. 87%. I told you it was a bad play. Stop playing these washed dudes.
I did hear that one. You definitely ran good with the fouls, but that's why you fade the high owned dude, right? For the times when it hits. I get it. I understand.
Mangone, this is my point though. Okay, forget about fouls that can happen, right? Yeah, this is basketball. Fouls, he can get thrown out. Jokic got thrown out on Serbian Heritage Night or whatever it was when we all played him that time, right? It's it can fucking happen, and he's 87% owned. And my whole point was dude, if you have 1 or 2 lineups and you're going up against the guy with 150 teams, Mangone, or 30 teams even, and those guys jam that guy, right? You are so behind with your teams. Even if that guy crushes, you are so behind. And so my whole point was those are the guys that you take chances on to fade, was my whole point. When you have one lineup.
I get it. The other argument that you could have made too for yourself was there were a lot of guard options that were cheap.
I did say that. I also said that. And he said, well, I'm going to play all of them.
That's what he says. I'm just going to play all these guys, and then I'm going to spend up, and then I'm just going to,
And then you know what he said? He goes, I hate all the spend ups. I was like, so you want to play all the cheap guard value, but then you hate all the spend ups. And by the end of the day, Mangone, he had Najee Marshall on one of his Millie teams. I was like, see what happens, motherfucker? That's what happens.
Well, yeah.
And Josh Hart.
And then that's why I get mad at Big T when he gets on me, because you know what I do, JSU? I suggest that I'm stalling because I want to look up what Andrew Wiggins did yesterday because I am curious. But
I don't think he did great because that game was he didn't get any closing fourth quarter run because of the game.
The thing I wanted to talk up though, JSU, is this is why I know Big T always likes to do.
And I liked Andrew Wiggins. I liked Andrew Wiggins yesterday.
I like mid-tier guys, right? I think the mid-tier, the guys like the Miles Turner that are 6'2" and can break a slate, right? For instance, when Najee Marshall's 8.4K, if he gets 50, I'll sign up for it, but it's not breaking a slate. You know what I mean? it's just not. So that's why I like to talk up these guys that you can mix and match onto your teams that are in the mid-tier that have upside that can pop off for good games, like Draymond Green, who I know you like. You know what I mean?
I played Draymond Green for years and won a lot of money with him in the mid-tier. So you're preaching to the choir with the Draymond Greens, D'Angelo Russell, back in the day when he was always mid-tier and stuff like that. And James, listen, if Big T was on this show, trust me, I'd be taking a victory lap even harder. He doesn't want the smoke, all right? He's off on a Wednesday. He's off today. Today's golf day. Or whatever. Mangone's out here grinding. You know what I mean? Mangone's got, golf show. He's got a headache. He's out here grinding. Big T don't want the smoke.
Guess who had a golf show with Big T and is here?
That's what I said. That's what I said.
So
I said Big T don't want the smoke.
But yeah, that's why I mentioned those guys. I think they're worth the mention in passing. I'm not saying they're the core plays and everything like that, but those are the plays that can differentiate you from the field, because a lot of times those are the plays that no one wants to play. So I get what you're saying. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times those are the ones when those mid-tier guys get you like 45, 50 DK points, man, going, it's just so good for your teams when you can catch like one or two of those guys. You want a good example of one the other day that I X'd him out, JC, when I was building my teams. I wanted the backload for that late slate. I saw Emmanuel quickly, right? And I said, there's no way I'm playing him in the early games when I have these Nuggets later. I got the Bulls later.
Bro, I played him and I was so tilted because I was like, I can't maneuver with the Nuggets news now. I was so mad.
41 at 6-7, and like that's something that you sign up for. Like, you know, it's just.
I know. I played him total. I played like a couple mid-tier guys, and then I spent up for Paulo, I think. So I was like pissed because I was like, I used a bunch of my money, and now like I can't, go get Jamal and a few of these other guys and stuff. But it ended up being fine or whatever. But yeah, it's what happens sometimes.
Yeah, that is exactly what happens.
All right, let's get back to the slate here. Toronto, Brooklyn. Is that where we were at?
Sure, yeah. Like, I'll tell you this, JC. Portland, like 2-3 years ago, was the team I wish was never on DFS slates. This is the team I wish was never on DFS slates, the Toronto Raptors. I'll take the Brooklyn Nets over the Toronto Raptors because I'm so sick of this team and the minutes they play. I never know what to do with them. So, as Beanair said, I'm going to listen to JSU. Whatever he says on the Raptors, I'm going to just soak it in like a sponge and listen up because I don't know what to do with this team. The Brooklyn Nets, I'll say this, I'm pretty good at, I'd say, just getting off of a lot of these guys in spots. Like, I don't mind a D-Russ. We talked about him a little bit just now. 5'8", he's got upside for sure in a matchup against the Raptors if he gets the minutes. So I like D-Russ, and I think that's really it on the net side of the ball. And then Toronto, JSU, I'm just going to hang up and listen. You tell me what to do.
What's up with the D-Russ just getting an extra couple of minutes last couple games? It feels like, like just randomly gets up. It felt like to me he wasn't cracking that like 30-minute ceiling, and then he's getting a little more. Maybe it was just the coach forgot to sub him out, when he hit that threshold or whatever. I don't know what it was exactly, but he's 5'8". Like, he seems like a decent play. I mean, like, I don't know if he's got like the slate breaking upside that he kind of like used to have, honestly, but 35-40 at 5'8", like I would take that from D'Angelo Russell. So I'm going to keep him in the pool here. One thing to note, I will just say with this Brooklyn team is, no Cam Johnson. They're still down like, Cam Thomas and no Sharp, which I do think matters a decent amount, man, going, because not that Sharp plays a ton of minutes or anything like that, but he steals a few minutes from a couple of guys. He steals a few minutes from either Nick Claxton, keeping him from like getting above that 30 mark, or he steals him from like Trendon Watford / Noah Clowney. So I do think this definitely helps those bigs. It makes it a little less muddy with the bigs. And I think it makes them better plays. I would prefer Trendon Watford just because he's a little cheaper than someone like Nick Claxton. But I think it's a good matchup for Nick Claxton. I think it's a matchup that Nick Claxton could, get us a decent number with. But the way I rank the Nets, I'd probably go with Trendon Watford 1, D. Russ 2, Nick Claxton 3, Keon Johnson 4, Zaire Williams 5, and then after that, like Noah Clowney, I guess. But that's the way I'd rank Brooklyn. Toronto, man, I want to play a Raptor because I do think someone like Scotty Barnes in this matchup could crush. I probably will honestly spend up for Scotty. He is an iffy play. Jamal Sheed, if he starts, I like his game. They won't play him crazy minutes, but I think 27, 28 minutes, he could get there at 4,400. So I would keep him in there. I think he's number 2 for me. And then number 3, I guess would probably be Orlando Robinson. No Jakob Podol. I do think there's a decent chance they start Castleton Mangone. I don't know what you think about that, but I think Orlando Robinson's just better at this point from a fantasy production standpoint. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing with Toronto. I don't want too many of these guys, but I can definitely play 1 or 2.
Yeah, I'm curious which one they start. I actually think they might start Orlando Robinson just because Castleton makes sense to probably be the backup.
Castleton's contract's over. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. No, that's fair.
So then Orlando Robinson, and so they're going to start Mogba, though. Like last time this happened, they started Mogba, I'm pretty sure, when they didn't have Castleton.
Yeah, they could go him. They're either going to go him or Robinson, and then they'll probably split the 5.
So what if they go Mogba instead of Robinson? Does that make him like way worse play to you?
Make who? Robinson a way worse play?
Yes. If they go with if they don't start Robinson, do you think he's like way worse of a play? Because right now I think projections have him starting.
Yeah, kind of. I would agree. I don't think Robinson's as good of a play. Like I would be cautious about playing him at that price. So, but
because I know one thing, Mogba sucks. He's not good. He's just not good.
Listen,
would you play him?
I mean, JSU, I basically X Toronto every slate. Like at this point, I basically
you're not playing him. If he starts, you're not playing him. Is that what you're saying?
The max I'll have is like 4%.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
if Orlando starts, same thing.
I'm trying to think. 'Cause I am not playing as much on DK today. I'm trying to just look at center's definitely different on these sites.
I agree with this. I wish they'd play more AJ Lawson too. I don't know why they don't play more AJ Lawson.
I will say this, JC, center isn't great today. So maybe I will have more than I think. Do you think center's good today? I don't think it's very good.
Well, I think that's why Sarr is going to be like, what'd you say, 30%?
30%. Yeah,
like
that is true.
I like Sarr, but that seems crazy high for him to be 30%. Yeah, no, I don't think center's the greatest. I will say Jokic being in kind of helps the center spot, but yeah, I don't think it's the greatest spot. I mean, I think there's like okay plays. There's no one that sticks out to me though at center. I'll agree with you there. Like Towns on the back end of a back-to-back against the Clippers, be it at home, coming off of a monster game, like, do I want to go there? I'm not sure. Jokic is priced up. Porzingis at 8,400 seems expensive, especially if Jason Tatum's going to play. Miles Turner is actually kind of interesting. You talked about him before we jumped on the show, but I think he's interesting. Yeah, it's not the best position. I agree with you.
Yeah, so I can see myself having more than I would like, but we will have to see. Yeah, Vuk starts, that'll definitely be big. We'll have to see.
I do like Brolo a little bit.
I like Brolo.
Though, he's not like – he's 6K. He's more than I thought he would be. I thought he would be like 5,600, 6K, but yeah, he's a good play.
Yeah, Brolo's been good, so that's part of the reason why. All right, let's get to some healthy teams. The Lakers and the Pacers, definitely some healthy teams in this spot. Pacers side of the ball, they got everyone. I'm not dying to target this Lakers team, I feel like, at these prices that I'm seeing everyone. So Indiana is not a team I'm trying to get to. Lakers, yes, you can make the case. Like Luka, Braun, like they're definitely spends that you could play, but all the other cheap options, I don't see myself getting excited for these values. So for me, it's really just Luka or Braun as like spend ups, and that's it, Jace. I don't really want to play too much of this game. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like we just talked about center not being great, and Luka's 12K. Jokic is 12.5. Like if Jokic is in, I'm kind of like, who am I playing? I would probably play Jokic over Luka. So for me, I'm probably not going to play Luka. LeBron seems like he's working his way back from whatever, ailment he was hurting from. He did play 38 minutes last game, which was nice. 31 the game before that. So, got back to pretty much where he was playing, 37, 38 minutes. That's good for Braun. I think I'd prefer LeBron Mangone if I was picking between the two to play. And honestly, outside of him, I don't see any other Laker I'm going to play. And on the Indiana side, I think Miles Turner is like the only guy that interests me just because it's center. And center is not the best position. And he can get me a big score at that tag. He can also be very frustrating with the way Rick Carlisle will pull him at times. But when he gets the run, he can have big games. So I would keep him in the pool. Other than that, I don't like these teams. Like you said, they're pretty healthy. Hallie has been good. I see in the chat, Byron saying Hallie's going to smash. He has been good. It's a tough spot against the Lakers.
Sure, yeah. Like I won't take him out of the pool, JSU. I don't think there's a lot of priority plays here, especially like in this 7:30 window. Like I'm guessing Harden sits. He just hasn't sat all year and really hasn't had a tag, and I'm just guessing he sits in this spot. And like if he does, like then that's going to obviously not want us to play a lot of these other guys. We're going to want Zubac. We're going to want Kawhi, right? So that's kind of what I'm anticipating. So yeah.
The one thing I will say, Mangone, is like, the Denver plays might have gotten worse with Jokic back, just a little bit at their price tags. The Boston plays, if Tatum plays, seem not that great. Depending on what Harden does, if he's in or out, right? Because if he's in, I don't think you'll be as, apt to want to get to those Clipper guys at those tags as much. So maybe I should leave Halliburton in the pool, because the more I look at that 8K range, like, I don't see a ton that I'm like in love to play. Like I like Scotty Barnes. I think he could crush in his minutes. But the more I look at it, like I do like Halliburton more when he's at home. I do think it is a tough spot, but I also don't love a lot of these other 8K guys. So I probably should keep him in the pool the more I'm looking at this 8K range.
Yeah, that's fair. AP says the Clips need to win because they're the 7th seed. They do, just look at schedules, they do play Brooklyn on Friday. So maybe he plays today at MSG and then he sits Brooklyn Friday. I don't know, but we'll see what happens, right? The good thing is this isn't like a spot I really have to guess on, right? I'll know the news enough in time. The only game that locks, and we didn't mention this yet, but the only game that locks first is Sixers and Wizards. And then the first real lock where you're going to be locked into players is 7:30. You got all the games we've been discussing, including this next one coming up between the Knicks and the Clippers. Of course, we got the Harden stuff. He's questionable. That's going to be important news that could shake up the slate if he somehow gets ruled out. If he gets ruled in, I mean, the Knicks have not been great, right? I know you and JT talked on that one show about how attacking them makes a lot of sense right now. So I don't know, JC, do you want to attack him with Harden, Zubac, or Kawhi? I mean, they could make some sense. Then you got the Knicks side of the ball. I know you talked about Josh Hart and his triple doubles, and the dude's been amazing. 8.1K. Campaign is going to be a clear value to play. We are not getting him at the, we're not getting him as much of a discounted price. Actually, I have FanDuel up, not our partner DK. So let me make sure I have the right price. Campaign is 4.6. So he went from 4.1, I believe, or 4.2 to 4.6 today. So
no, same price tag, man, going for DK.
Okay. All right. There's so many price tags. I can't remember. I think it was 4.1 on the other site yesterday. But so 4.6 on Campaign today. I mean, Campaign's a good play, right? He's someone I think you have to consider, right? If you're going to spend up for LeBron instead of Luka, it's probably because you're playing Campaign, JSU. That's what I would assume. He seems like a value that you're going to want to get to. Ownership agrees. He's going to be around 20% owned right now. He's got a pretty decent projection over here. Karl Anthony Towns, he's got a tough matchup against Zubac, but at 10K, we know his usage is strong. Josh Hart, he might get the Kawhi Leonard treatment, which Kawhi, I don't know if he's like, he's still an elite defender, right? So I don't know how much that's going to affect the back-to-back, but I'll just say this, JSU, I'm not racing to play all these Knicks today. Like, I think Campaign is a good play. You can mix and match the OGs, Bridges, Harts, and Towns, but I don't think they're priority plays here in this spot. Maybe you got different opinions on this. Again, this game has some okay plays, but everything hinges on the James Harden.
Yeah, the only thing I will say for the Knicks is, they are still a team that's down bodies. And when you look at this slate, right, Mangone, I see a lot of teams actually for an NBA slate in March, at the end of March, that aren't down as many bodies, right? Denver looks like they're getting healthier with Jokic. We'll see what happens with the other guys. Boston feels like Tatum might play after, participating in shoot around and everything else. Phoenix doesn't have Bradley Beal, but the Lakers, Pacers, pretty healthy. So like really and truly, like Knicks are one of the spots that you can at least say like, hey, they're down a lot of guards. Like they're not healthy in this spot. So I do still have some interest in these Knicks. I think Josh Hart from a tournament perspective is always in play just like I said yesterday, exactly what he can do. The dude, he's going for 50 or he's going for 28. Like there's no there's not much in between with Josh Hart right now. So it's probably tough for him to recreate the big score, but they don't have any other choice. They need to play these guys. He played 33 minutes last game. At least got a few minutes break, I guess, because he, pretty much averages probably like 38, 39 minutes on the season. So, I still think you can play him. I think OG, has been really good as a scorer. I don't know if you want to think that's going to keep going. I think he would be another guy I'd keep in the pool. For me, I'd probably rank him Hart, Towns, OG, Payne, Bridges would be the 5 in that order, Mangone, because I do think Knicks are in play. Even though I don't like the Knicks as a team, especially without Brunson right now, McBride, they still feel like one of the better DFS spots, in my opinion, even against the Clippers here. And the Clippers, it all hinges on Harden. Like, if he's in, I don't need to play these Clippers guys. If he's out, then we come back to the table because I think that, Norman Powell becomes a little bit of a better play. He's had some bad games, but he becomes better. I think Kawhi, obviously, a really good spend. Someone said who starts for him, like for Harden. I don't think they start Ben Simmons. That was the question asked. I feel like they don't want Ben Simmons and Zubac on the floor at the same time. That's just what it looks like to me. And it makes sense because they should never be on the floor at the same time. You can't have two people like that on the floor at the same time. So I think Ben only works as a starting small 5.
They would go – they have Norman Powell, right? So they would go Dunn, Powell, either Coffee or Bogdanovich, probably Coffee, and then they'd go Kawhi and Zubac. That would be my guess, right?
Or Bogdan.
Yeah, I said him. He's probably like the sixth man guy that could slide in for one of them. Yeah.
And if they don't want to disrupt it, it'd be like a Coffee or something. Like if they didn't want to disrupt him off the bench. But honestly, though, Mangone hates Bogdan probably too. So like even if he started, I probably wouldn't have that much interest in someone like him. I would just bump the other guys like the Powells, the Kawhis, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm good on Bogdan, but I've definitely taken notice his role's been a little bit better with the Clippers, so I've taken notice of that. I was like full fade when he was on the Hawks, and I haven't been off of him completely with the Clippers, but I'd have to see if he's in the starting lineup. It would at least intrigue me, and I'd have to compare to what other values we have and don't have. So that would be a big conversation point for me. JC, I do want to address something that Joe Ruff asked. Tyler Kolak, 3.3K, 18 and 19 minutes, and I think this is when you have to look deeper at the game logs, not just the game logs, like look on popcorn. And from what I'm seeing, Kolak played against his last 2 games against Dallas. He played, trying to do the math, 7.5 first half minutes. Then he played the entire fourth quarter, the whole 12 minutes because of blowout. And then the game against the Wizards, he played the entire second quarter for 12 minutes. And then he only played I'd say about 8 or probably 6 minutes in the second half. So I just don't think that minutes upside is that great. I think the blowout was very much in his favor for the most part. I'm sure one reason why Kolak was in there against the Wizards during that stretch was because they were blowing him out. He was playing good basketball. So I would just stay away unless we don't get a lot of good value or you feel like the value is shaky. But I don't think it's a great idea. All right, couple of questions for you, JSU. Joey asked, would you play Hart or Jamal, assuming Jokic is in?
I mean, on the surface, Jamal's he's got to be a better play. I think it would depend on who else is out for Denver. If Denver was fully healthy, I might click Hart, honestly. If Denver's missing an MPJ or an Aaron Gordon, or something like that, then I'd probably lean the Jamal side.
Yeah, I tend to agree there. I think that's enough Clippers. Knicks, Clippers again. The news
and George, so I looked it up. So I bet Kyle Kuzma double-double, Scotty Barnes triple-double, and 8 assists from Kevin Porter. I used my no sweat bet on. And then I did bet this one that you're talking about here, triple. The Scotty Barnes triple-double is definitely one that scares me just because of the minutes. But I thought the number was pretty decent enough at, I think it was 28-1 or something like that. But it's at 30-1 now. Kind of feels like it's moving the opposite direction. But yeah, I did use my no sweat bet on that.
Yeah, I'll answer this on Grimes. We talked about him earlier, and then we'll get to the next game. I think he's in play right now. Just the usage just so high. He's one of those studs. Just you mix and match on your teams. If you're MMA, you keep him in the pool. He's certainly fine. I wouldn't say he's a priority stud, but I think he's a good play. So I am interested in him. All right, next game up, Milwaukee and Denver. This game starts an hour and a half past these last games we talked about. So we probably won't have that Jokic news. That's obviously going to be very important for this slate. I'm assuming he's in. MPJ is questionable. Aaron Gordon questionable. And Giannis is out. And, of course, with Giannis out, we have to like some Milwaukee Bucks, right? The roster spots are going to be available for them. Kyle Kuzma, 5'9". We know he is the top projected guy, 35% owned. Brook Lopez, he's right behind him, 6K, around 22% owned. He will be chalk. And JSU likes KBJ props. So why does he like him? Because he's going to get a ton of run. We assume he starts. Maybe it's him. Maybe it's Ryan Rollins. But those guys will get some more opportunity. And honestly, the Nuggets don't play defense, right? Their defense has struggled. So it's going to be a spot where points will be scored. Nuggets side of the ball, Jokic is a spend at 12.5, and JSU said it, because there's better spend down guards. It seems like a better spot to spend for Jokic than it does for Luka. At least that's how I feel. I think he felt the same way when he was talking about it earlier. And of course, if an MPJ misses and an Aaron Gordon, that opens up opportunity for Christian Brown. It could maybe open up the opportunity for Zeke Nnaji to pop in there and get a start out of nowhere. Maybe it's Westbrook, Jamal Murray at 8'6". We know we like to target the guards on the Bucks. So, JSU, this is a game that we have to get exposure to. I really like the Bucks side of the ball. I know Reggie's getting antsy, but what's your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, Reggie heard KPJ and he had to come on over to talk him up real quick. So, Reg, if you wanna take the mic, talk up KPJ. I think he likes KPJ. He's turning his head at me right now. I don't think he starts Mangone, just to be clear about the KPJ stuff. I do think they start Ryan Rollins. I don't think that matters, though, because I just think they're going to need his scoring and playmaking out there. So I think he's going to get a lot of run. On top of it, I think this is a good game for DFS. I think you got plays like Brolo, Kyle Kuzma. Kevin Porter Jr. Since I think Ryan Rollins starts, I even think Ryan Rollins is in play. But I do prefer those three over him. And then on the Denver side, outside of Jokic, the plays are going to depend on who's in and out. MPJ getting, the downgrade during the day feels like he might be very questionable, Mango. And maybe giving him a day off with Jokic back, that would actually make some sense. Honestly, it would kind of make some sense if they sat Aaron and MPJ with Jokic back. So if they did something like that, then I think it makes this game like the total complete best spot of the slate. So that would be honestly the nuts if we could do something like that. So hopefully we get one or two of those guys out, and then it's like just unload on this game. Peyton Watson would be in play if that happened. Jamal Murray would be one of the better 8K options. But right now I'm looking at the Bucks mainly, and hopefully we can get some of this news maybe like right around 7:30, Mangone. So we get that like just after those games lock, and we get one or two of those guys out. So yeah, I'm in on this game. I also think like someone like Gary Trent Jr. is in play. Reggie didn't like that as much. You heard him just whine a little bit, but I still like him, Reg. I think he's a good play because they're going to need scoring. They're going to need shooting. They're going to need scoring. I think he's someone at 4,400 you can stick in your lineup. So the way I'd rank them, I'd probably go with Brooke, Kyle, KPJ, Gary Trent, and then from there, everyone else, Rollins, the rest.
Yeah, I like those rankings. I think I lean that way. And I think Brolo and Kuzma are close, but I just like the safety, I guess, of Brolo a little bit more. I will ask, who do you think gets the biggest? Let's say MPJ gets ruled out. Who gets the biggest boost for you? My lean would be Christian Brown. I know the price is up a little bit, but I still think there's upside, and guards can obviously do well against the Bucks. But who do you lean gets the boost with no MPJ?
Just with no MPJ, I think it would be Christian Brown. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, like the Aaron Gordon stuff, I don't know. I don't think there's obviously there's not that big of a boost. It'd probably be one of those cheap values. And it's like which guy starts. I don't know which of the cheap values starts next to him. So I think that's a big talking point as well. But I think the MPJ stuff, that can really be a significant usage boost for someone. That's why I wanted to ask about that.
It feels like one of the better spots in general, though, Mangone. And I would say after Brown, I think Watson would be the second guy that gets the bump. I don't think you need to make a rule, though. Even if you're playing three from a team, I don't think that necessarily, in NBA, I don't think you need to make these rules about run backs and stuff like that. It's a little different of a sport because price, the price matters too. The position, depending on the slate, everything kind of matters when it comes to the NBA. That doesn't mean you can't run back your teams. I just wouldn't make it a rule. I wouldn't make it a rule if I'm playing three, I need to have two Denver. Because I don't think you need to have that happen for it to work out for you. So I wouldn't make that rule.
Yep, 100%. Let's get on to the last game. It is the Boston Celtics and the Phoenix Suns. And the report that came out from the beat writer was Tatum is here at shoot-around and changing into his workout sneakers. That's usually an indication he's at least going to try to play tonight or try to convince the Celtics to let him play. So it seems like Tatum is going to try to play. Obviously, we have Bradley Beal, who's already out there, but we got most of the Celtics in. I don't know if Tatum's going to play, but it sounds like he's going to try to, so I don't think we can bank on it. Obviously, this game will be low-owned. As I look at the ownership right now, the highest-owned guy is Durant at 11%, and everyone else is below 10%, and that makes a lot of sense. If you backload for it, JSU, you might not get all that news, right? You might not know the Tatum stuff in time, so you might kind of get stuck on some plays that are lower owned. So you do have to make a decision on what you're doing with this game. So what decision are you making with this one?
Yeah, I think the decision I'm going to make is that I just have this feeling that he plays. I'm kind of with you. I think it's stupid. I don't know why they would even run him back. It looked like when he got hurt, it was like he got shot. He was in so much pain, screaming on the floor. It's like, all right, we get it. Your ankle's hurt. I don't know why you would play him here. He must be pushing to play. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I don't want anything to do with it if he's going to be in. So I'm probably out on the Celtics. The Phoenix side, I think maybe a little more interesting, but I don't need Phoenix. It's not one of those spots where I feel like I have to play these guys. I will say Phoenix wants to win. They need to win to get into that play-in situation. They want to, block it up pretty much. So they're definitely still trying to win games. Don't love Durant here. I don't really even love Booker as much. Ryan Dunn's been good, but I just don't see much upside with him that much. I think he's somewhat consistent at 4,300 man going. I would keep him in the pool, but he's not someone for tournaments. I feel like I need to play. They kind of feel like Royce O'Neal is very hit or miss. Tyus Jones now with Gillespie playing a little bit more, not really in play. So yeah, I think I'm kind of off this game. You don't have to play all these games. And Boston and Phoenix look like they could be pretty healthy depending on Tatum. So, and the fact that this is the last game on the slate, man, going, I probably won't get to the point where, Tatum in or out, it's going to affect me because my teams will probably be locked by then, unless we get the news early.
Yeah, that's fair. JC, do you want to hear? I know this is a little off the board, but do you want to hear the Phoenix Suns remaining schedule and who they have to play? It's an absolute gauntlet. I mean, it is insane.
Yeah, I actually looked at them in Portland. They both have really tough schedules.
Yeah, so Dallas is 0.5 games back of the 10 seed on Phoenix, only 0.5. But here's the Phoenix schedule. They got to play Boston on ESPN, at Minnesota on NBA TV, Houston NBA TV, at Milwaukee TNT, at Boston NBA TV, at New York versus the Golden State Warriors on TNT, Oklahoma City, and then they end the season with 2 easy games, San Antonio Spurs, and I guess the Sacramento Kings could be easy, but not that easy. So, yeah, it's a rough closeout for the.
It depends on what happens with the Kings, because the Kings are kind of in the exact same position the Suns are in. If the Kings lose a bunch of games, they could be out. They're not locked into this play-in right now.
No, I agree. I knew the Suns had a tough schedule and I wanted to pull it up because I was curious. And
they definitely have a tough schedule. So.
It's a tough one to close the season for them. So we'll see if they can steal one tonight. I don't think they will, but you never know.
Never know.
Let's get on to the plays of the day, JSU. You got one ready to go?
I do. My play of the day, I don't know if he's going to be 1% like Najee Marshall, but Kevin Porter Jr. For Milwaukee. I just want to reiterate, I don't think he starts, but I think he finishes, and that's kind of all that matters. If this game is even somewhat close, which is definitely a question, but if they can keep this thing close, I think KPJ is going to have to score, and he's going to have to score a lot and have the ball in his hands. So give me some KPJ here at 4,600. And hopefully we get a nice back and forth game with Denver and Milwaukee.
All right, yeah, like the KPJ call. Yeah, BG, I gave you the networks because just to point out, they're all national TV games. I thought it was interesting that they played 6 national TV games in a row. So
it kind of makes sense though, because if you're a national TV, you want a team that's not resting guys. So at least Phoenix probably won't, right? So it's good for the television networks that at least Phoenix isn't going to rest their starters. Doesn't mean that the other team won't though, Mangone.
Yeah, no. I saw, for instance, that Bucks game. That Bucks game could easily be no Giannis and it's no Dame and it's
it's harder for them. It makes it a little more of a difficulty for them to rest their star, or it's supposed to rest their stars for those games. So you can say it works both ways.
JC, the other interesting thing I noticed when I looked up the Clippers schedule, which if I was the coach, I love the idea of resting Harden tonight because their last game was on Sunday, right? And then they play the Knicks tonight. They play the Nets on Friday, so you rest them on Friday, and then they play Cleveland on Sunday. That's if you rest them for both New York games, that's an entire week's of rest for Harden going into like this final playoff push and then the playoffs. So I actually like the idea of giving Harden an entire week off. Like, what do you think of that concept?
I mean, that would be sharp.
Yeah,
that would definitely be sharp. This is the one thing I will say. You got to think these guys want to play in New York. It's got to be like one of those places that everyone wants to play, like MSG.
I agree.
Like you got to think these guys kind of push to play. But what you're saying makes sense, right? Especially if the guy's worn down. Like if Harden's like exhausted, he feels like
he just hasn't rested all year. He hasn't really rested. So that's all I was thinking. Like
that's good, man. No, they're not supposed to. Listen, a lot of superstars for plenty of years have went through a full season, not rested, not load management, won championship. Like it happens. Like that's fine. Like we act like because it doesn't happen as much, these guys like can't do it. No, they just choose not to now. It's like the path to least resistance. Like they choose not to because like the training staff and everything is like, no, this is what you need, and we need you to sit this, and this. Like they're being told to do this, obviously, from a lot of the organizations and stuff, but it's not like they can.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just
honestly, more
I like the idea of a rest for the push. That's all. Like a minor rest here for the push is not the worst idea. That's my thought process.
I will say, if you're gonna rest though, I'd rather them rest like the away games than like the home games. I think like resting home games is like should be just completely forbidden because like those people.
Big T has a total opposite take on that. Big T thinks you should rest the home games. Yes.
Rest the home games in the way.
Me and him argued this. I was on your side.
Why? Because the people pay to go see them play for like that one time. It's like it's the same. I don't understand. Is that why? Is that what he said?
I think it's because, like, for instance, like if LeBron comes to Denver and I want to go see him and I bought a ticket, like now that's the argument for it. Which like you can always see Jokic here, right? So that was the reason for it.
Okay. So his point is kind of like, yeah, your fans can see your team like whenever they want, pretty much, but like, my son can't see LeBron play except for like twice a year or something like that.
Correct.
Yeah. That kind of makes sense, man. Going, all right, I won't argue it as much. I
didn't fight him on it. Like I understood his opinion, but I just know that was his take. So,
either way, I think resting is stupid. But
or he could be in Steve's camp and just be like.
The point is, these guys should be pushing more to not rest and to play and to want to play. For the people that pay to spend their hard-earned money to bring their kids to these games, so. That's how that's how like the Kobe's, the AIs, I think that's how a lot of those guys back then felt about playing versus resting. And it just never came over. Like again, LeBron changed all of it. Sorry, it comes back to LeBron every time, but it's just the truth. So not sorry.
All right, I will give my play of the day. JSU gave out KPJ. My play of the day has gone down in ownership. He's around 18% right now. It's as I like to call him, Alexandre Sarr. I'm going with Mr. Sarr to
You're
kick
playing
off.
30% Sarr on the slate?
He's going to be 18% now. It went down. So that's the reason why I was okay with it. I started, what I did? I sorted by ownership on our partner SaberSim, and I just was looking for a play that was like below 20%. I dipped into like the below 10% JSU, and there were way too many Raptors and just Nets, and I didn't want to bother with those plays. So I'm going to give it to my guy Sarr.
So you took a Wizard. A Wizard that was owned.
I think he's a good play, man. He has been really good. Like the upside has been awesome. Like he kind of reminds me a little bit of like Okongwu from a couple months ago where I was like, listen, ceiling games are coming. You don't want to miss this train. You want to be on him to close out the year. So I want to be on Sar basically every single slate to close out the year. So I'm on him for this slate. All right. That is fair. KPJ is high on JSU. I should be coming back out.
He should be. 4,600 on the slate with no Giannis and no Dame. What do you expect? Hey, I didn't say I gave a high owned play. I'm just shocked that Travis Mangone, the guy who always talks about like ownership and not wanting to play Wizards and bad teams.
No, it's fair.
And then he comes with Sar after saying all that stuff. It just kind of surprised me a little bit. I thought you were going to go with like a good team or a team that like had something to play for. You kind of shocked me a little. I was expecting like a Kawhi Leonard or like someone like that. You threw me off.
JSU, I watched him dominate Jokic. And ever since I watched that game, I was like, I know this dude is going to be getting a ton of usage and close the season out strong. And since that game, he's had 37, 42, 36, the bad spot 17, and then 32. So, and I know price has gone up, but I've been on the train, and I'm going to stick on the SAR train going forward. So I'm in on him in this spot. So
what's funny is I think he's a good play. It's just I'm still surprised that you said his name. That's all. I was surprised that you said his name. It was a little shocking.
Yeah.
Rui starting. Still not.
Yeah, I saw that. Does that matter to you? For me, it doesn't really. Like, I'm not. We talk about the Lakers. Like, we don't really want to play these guys too much, right?
Especially these secondary guys like Luka, LeBron. If I'm playing anyone, honestly, I think it's a good spot for LeBron. Yeah, I think LeBron's the best Laker play at that price tag.
Yeah, like, I like to talk about these mid-tier guys that have upside, JSU, like at 5'3", Rui. Like, he's not one of those guys. Like, Benedict Mathurin at like 5'2", like that dude has upside. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather go to him instead at forward, or I'd rather find maybe a little bit more of an expensive option. So, I don't know. I'm not excited about that. But all right. Anything else, JSU? Do you want to talk about coming up or no?
No, I think we got it all. Baseball tomorrow, first show for baseball. If you guys are into the MLB DFS betting, we got a show 12 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. I think the main slate for DraftKings locks at like 4:05. Pretty sure there's like a 9-game slate and then a late game 2-game slate. Decent prize pools up for both of them, by the way. We'll have the content over at Run Pure Sports covered. We'll have like we'll have our like main slate playbook. There'll be a slate builder, kind of like how we do it for NBA, but for MLB. DC's article, the cheat sheet article that he's done for years, that'll be up. Hopefully either tonight or tomorrow in the morning sometime. It'll be up for the article. And then we'll have the show at 12, core plays, the full playbook. And then we'll have like a night slate playbook, kind of like we did last year for the night slate. It'll be more set up like a slate builder. If you guys have seen like the NBA builder, it'll be more set up like that. But for people that, play the night slate, play those smaller slates, they still got some pretty good prize pools. I saw I think tomorrow's is like $50K for the 2-gamer. So they got some, that's some decent money up top, man, going for those night slates. So a lot of baseball. We won't be stopping the NBA. We'll still have shows for the NBA, but going to be adding the baseball shows on top. And Harden's in, man, going.
Yeah, I was just going to say Harden.
I told you they all want to play at MSG. They all want to play at MSG.
I agree. I'm just saying it wouldn't. I was just looking at the schedule and I was like, wow, taking a whole week off would not be the worst thing. So that's all I was thinking. But
I think he rests next game. So I think he'll rest probably the next game. But that kind of takes me off the Clippers, which I'm kind of happy about.
All right, SMB. We can't go through each best play of the game. We just went through it all. If you want to rewind, go listen back on 1.5x speed and catch up. If you do want each best play from the game, you can sign up in the Discord with the code RPS15. If you sign up and ask me and JSU, hey, what's your favorite play in each game? I will give you each of my favorite ones if you are signed up over at Run Pure Sports. But that is going to wrap it up for us. Thanks a lot for joining us here on this show. For me, man, going to JSU. See you guys later.